Okay, friends, if you have a hooded eye and you are struggling to create an eye look, to actually look like you have the lid space to see the multiple colors that you're putting on your eye, this video is for you. Small eyes, deep set eyes, hooded eyes, anybody with that is going to benefit. My name is Sammy George. Welcome back to my channel. I'm an independent makeup artist with Seint Beauty, specializing in the 40-year-old plus face. So fine lines, wrinkles, texture, acne, rosacea, dark under eyes, I have it, and I like to focus on the needs of women in that age range. So if this video is going to be helpful to you, please stick around. As always, feel free to like and subscribe so you don't miss anything, and thanks for being here. We're getting in close here so that you can actually see the eye look as we create it. And here's what I'm gonna do. On one eye, I'm going to show you the tips that have worked for me. On the other eye, I'm gonna show you kind of what not to do. So the opposite of what seems to work for somebody like me who has both a deeper set eye and a partially hooded eye. And all a hooded eye means is that this skin right here on the hood of the eye covers part or all of your eyelid. So right now, my crease, this area right here, is completely hidden by the hood of my eye. So what we're gonna do today is focus on how we can use our eyeshadows and just the concept of light and dark to open up or give the illusion of a more open eye and a larger lid space to work with, so that if you wanna create an eye look, you wanna use multiple colors, you can actually see those colors on the eye itself by creating this more open eye. Okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna use my Seint eyeshadows from Seint Beauty, but you can use whatever eyeshadows you have to try some of these different techniques. A couple things. First, I did do my eyebrows. So I used a brow wax to fluff them up. That just helps create more lid space, right? If our brows are down onto the lid, that's less lid to work with. And then I filled them in just a little bit so the areas that are sparse now have some filling to them. And I just used an eyeshadow color close to my eyebrows. So if you're currently a Seint customer or a Seint user, I should say, and you want to know what eyeshadow color you can use, just comment below. I'd be happy to help you. But there are several different eyeshadows that look great, whether you have blonde hair, brown hair, dark hair, red hair, any of those, and I can make a recommendation for you. In addition to fluffing up the brows and filling them in, I did prime my eyes. Priming your eyes will help if you have oily eyelids, crepey eyelids. Really, I would use an eye primer anytime you're gonna do an eye look. It will help minimize the discoloration that you have. And if you're using one that's creamy, make sure you go ahead and set it so that it's going to allow your powder shades to blend really well on the eye. So eyebrows are done, eyeshadow primer is on, and now we're gonna move into our first tip. Okay, my first tip is to grab a mid-tone matte. So you wanna grab a shade that's 2 to 3 shades darker than your skin color, and you want it to be a matte shade, not a shimmer shade. In this area, we have a lot of texture. We have this excess skin already. If the shade has a lot of shimmer in it, a lot of brightness to it, contouring your eyes is the same as contouring your face. On our face, we contour in the areas that we want to recede. We want to pull back, okay? So darkness recedes. Light comes forward. So if we use a shimmery shade on that area, that light is gonna reflect and it's just gonna draw our hood forward. The other thing is picking a shade that's 2 to 3 shades darker than your skin tone versus 4 or 5 shades darker than your skin tone is going to allow this to be a transition shade. It's not the star of the show. It's just there to help pull the whole eye look together versus being something that's really dark and noticeable and kind of takes the focus off the eye look and puts it on the eyelid. So mid-tone matte, 2 to 3 shades darker than your skin tone, no shimmer in this area. For me, this is the shade Bubba. I'm gonna take a light fluffy brush and I'm going to swirl a little bit of product on. I am gonna tap off the excess. You see all that goes fluffing away? And now here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look in this mirror so that I can actually see what I'm doing. But I want you to find that hood of your eye outside of the pupil. Tip 1 is to create a new crease. So this is actually above the actual crease of my eye, because now when my eye is open, I'm going to be able to see that shade. So I tap it, create that new crease, and now I am gonna tilt my head back and I'm going to windshield wiper this color back and forth very lightly, and I'm gonna focus on just the area within the lash line. Like use your eyelash line as kind of a fence. And I'm just feathering this back and forth. You can swirl up and out. We wanna pull our eyeshadow up, and now I've created a new crease. So when I look forward, that is visible. If I'm just to put my eyeshadow in the crease itself, it's not gonna be visible because the hood is gonna come down over top. Now that I've created a crease, I'm gonna take that same color, I'm gonna tap off the excess, and I'm just going to press it into this outer corner here. And this is just gonna give us a really contiguous eye look. So your colors are gonna look really blended, nothing is gonna look harsh, and when we add just this little bit of depth to the outside corner, it's also gonna help create more definition. So I'm just pressing that into that outer corner and now swirling it around to get a good blend. I'm keeping it within the frame of the outside of the lashes and the outside of my eyebrow, and then again, making sure that the color can be seen up and above the crease on to the base of the hood. And that's gonna be tip and step one. Now I'm gonna show you on the other eye, if you were to use a dark shade and a shimmer shade and a dense brush, okay? Putting this on here, it's a more dense brush, tapping off the excess, but only putting this in the crease, okay? So I'm putting this in the crease. We'll keep it in that same frame. Bring it down here. But this denser brush is gonna deposit a lot more color. We're just putting that in the crease. So when you have that hooded eye and your hood essentially covers the majority of the crease, when you look forward, all you're kind of left with is maybe what area squirted out from within that crease versus over here where we've created just the look of a larger, more open eye. So this tends to work better than this does if you want to be able to see more of the lid space. Okay, that was tip one. We used a light fluffy brush, a mid-tone matte, and we created a new crease. Tip number two is then gonna be to grab a shade that is light and bright. It can be matte, it can be shimmer, it doesn't matter, because now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this on the lid by putting a lighter and brighter color and even a shimmer. Remember, shimmers reflect light. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cause our lid to reflect out and it's going to look bigger. So I'm simply gonna grab this champagne colored shade right here. I'm gonna get some on my finger, and now I'm going to press this onto the lid. And this is like the most simple two-color eyeshadow look. They're in the same color family. Obviously, they're both warm, but there is enough deviation between them that they don't just muddy and all blend together. Grab a little bit more. I'm just pulling my eye a little bit taut. If you have to pull up on your forehead to get into those wrinkles, but you do wanna get into the wrinkles, the creases, the crevices that you have there. And now we have that lighter and brighter shade on the lid. Again, it can be matte if that's your preference. A shimmer is great because it reflects light, but just those two simple colors, something light and bright that reflects light, and a transition shade where you've created a new crease is gonna give you the illusion of a larger lid and a more open eye. If you wanna make sure that you're really well blended, you can just grab a brush that doesn't have anything on it and make sure that you have evenly distributed that across the lid. And I'm gonna go back to my original brush and my mid-tone matte shade, tap in a little bit, get the excess off. I'm gonna press back on that corner just to finish off the color portion of the look. Make sure that I'm getting up onto that hood. I do have my chin tilted back so that the angle of this brush is getting in the crease, but also onto the base of the hood and in this outer corner to pull that together and make sure that the color on my lid and the color on my hood just blend together really well. Then you can take the small end and you can feather that underneath the eye in lieu of an eyeliner. You're gonna keep a really natural looking eye look, but it is going to help define the eye, carve it out just a little more in a subtle way that isn't distracting. On this eye, I'm gonna show you what a darker shade on the lid is gonna do in regards to closing your eye look off versus keeping it open. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm just pulling my eye taut. Don't pull too hard on the skin, but if you have to get into those wrinkles, you can go ahead and do that. And now I'm gonna grab that dense brush and make sure that it's evenly distributed. All right, let's distribute this across the lid. Make sure it's in the creases and the crevices, the wrinkles of the eye. But here's the thing. When we put a darker shadow closer to the center part of our eye, it's gonna close it off. So that's why you wanna keep a light and bright color, at least in this inner third. So if you like a darker color on the lid, that's okay. Just make sure that maybe you leave this inner third open for something that is light and bright to really help open up that eye look. Can you see the difference already between creating a new crease on your hood and only putting the shadow in the crease, and then having a lighter color on the lid versus a darker color? Like we did on this eye, I'm gonna grab my original shade and I'm going to halo underneath my eye with this color here in lieu of a liner. Now this is still a little bit dark. However, it will be less harsh than say like a black liquid liner, and I can show you that difference. But let's just make sure that we're doing our eyes, tapping a little bit into this corner, right? Blending it the same way we did on the other side to keep everything as close to the same as possible so that you can see the comparison between the two. My third and final tip. Actually, there'll be a bonus tip for you at the end, so stay tuned. But the third tip is about eyeliner. Now me, I don't typically wear a lot of eyeliner on my actual lid, and here's why. If my eyeliner gets too thick, it takes away from the limited lid space that I have. But I'll show you, if you're somebody who does like to wear eyeliner, how you can do it a little more subtle and keep it really close to the lash line versus kind of what I traditionally did for the longest time, which was just applying a black liquid eyeliner, and just by the way that I applied it, it tended to be so thick that it lost a little bit of my lid itself. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this so that you can see the difference. Eyeliner is on. So here's what I typically did in the past. Okay, I put my eyeliner on, starting at the inner part of my iris, working my way out to the outer lash line, and then lightly lining underneath, also stopping at the pupil and pulling it out, still thinking that I was keeping the inner corner kind of open and bright. But do you see when you add that eyeliner on, and I just used like a pencil tip eyeliner. I didn't do anything thicker, just a pencil tip eyeliner, how much more closed off my eye looks. I have lost so much lid space by applying a thicker eyeliner than what I'm going to show you here. What I would do is I would grab a brush like this. This is called the etch brush, and I would keep your application as close to the lash line as possible. So you could take your eyeliner itself, okay? You could open it up and you could actually put some product on here and really wiggle it into the lash line itself. If you're going to do that, make sure that this is waterproof, okay? Because the water from your eye is going to cause it to run. It's going to be a whole thing. Or you could try the technique of using, instead of black, something brown. You could do purple, you could do blue, whatever the color is that you like to line your lashes with to give it a little bit of pop. We can use an eyeshadow so it's a little more subtle. We're still gonna keep it close to that lash line and open and define the eye without it being as large, without it taking up so much lid space. So first things first, I'm gonna grab this brush, and because I'm gonna do the eyeshadow technique, I am going to use my setting spray. And I'm gonna spray this because I want this application to be precise. And now I'm just going to tap into that eyeshadow color right on to the brush, just on the tip of the brush there. And now I'm going to just lightly, okay, pull the eye a little bit taut, and I'm running this in my lashes. And I'm gonna do the same area that I did here. So I'm gonna start in this inside pupil area. Try not to tug too much, okay? But if you're like me, you do want to pull it a little bit taut because you have those fine lines, wrinkles, and creasing in that eyelid area. So I'm keeping it from this part of my pupil to the outer lash line and just making the lashes look a little fuller. Can you see the difference between a more harsh eyeliner that takes up a lot of lid space and one that just creates more fuller lashes and still adds a teeny bit of definition from the eye? And from here, you could even do like a little baby wing. You could do these lashes under here. Go ahead, I'll show you. I'm just gonna run it in that lash line, just like so. So that would be tip 3. How to still wear eyeliner and make it just a little more subtle, but not close off your actual eyelid. Let's finish this off with mascara and we're gonna be done. Now that our mascara is done, you can see the final look. So over here, we used our mid-tone matte shade to create a new crease. We kept a light and bright color on the eyelid, especially in that inner third, and then we tight lined our lash line just to add a little bit of definition and make our lashes look fuller without making our eyeliner so thick that we lose lid space. And on here, we just kind of did the opposite so that you can see the contrast between the two. Let me know in the comments below if you can see the difference. I told you there was gonna be a bonus tip. Here is the bonus tip. So after your mascara is on, I want you to look at that hood color, okay? If your eyelashes are now covering up the new crease that you've created, go in with that mid-tone matte, okay? And go above that lash line. Just tap a little bit on, the smallest amount, and go ahead and windshield wiper that back and forth. So even if your eyelashes are long and cover that up originally, you can still add a little bit of product above it, still have some available lid space with nothing on it. You don't want to take that color all the way up to the brow, to underneath the actual eyebrows themselves, but you just want to be able to see it above the lash line. Okay, you guys, tell me, can you see the difference? Let me know in the comments below what questions you have, anything that would be helpful for you regarding a hooded eye, deep set eye, or a smaller eye to help create just a more open looking eye so that you can have fun with your eyeshadow and see all the colors that you put on your lid. As always, guys, thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you again next week.